Let's welcome in former Raptors executive Isiah Thomas, part of the broadcast team tonight, back in the old stomping grounds. As I mentioned, in your time in Toronto, before I ask you a basketball question, did you get the Canadian accent down or down?
Absolutely, Matt. And it's a kind of nasally kind of thing. So, and when you're talking in Canadian, you always have to end with a little A. So when I was here in Toronto, I definitely had a great time, and it was all right.
I like it. I like it. Zeke back in the house tonight. Toronto is 2.5 back in Milwaukee in the East. The Bucks haven't shown any signs of slowing down, but the Raptors have the easiest post-All-Star schedule in the league. What kind of a chance do you give them to claim the top seed for a second straight year?
You know, I give them a good chance. They not only are they playing well, and you talked about their schedule, but they've also added, significant talent. You know, when you look at Gasol coming in, and when you look at trying to blend him in, now with he and Ibaka in the middle, and then the addition of Jeremy Lin, I really like what they have talent-wise. I mean, they're covered at every position, and when you look at the coaching staff, I think they've done a great job. Too many times this year, we haven't mentioned Nurse as a potential coach of the year. You have to say that he's done an excellent job also. So I would like to congratulate him, but also look at this Toronto team and say they definitely not only can win the East, but in my opinion right now, they're favored to come out of the East, Matt.
Well, that would be unusual, I think unprecedented, if the same team were to produce coaches of the year in back-to-back years, but they were different coaches. Put on your coaching hat here for a moment. What do you think about when you think about Marc Gasol in a playoff series and how he can impact it for the Raptors?
Well, the thing that he and Kawhi bring to this Raptor team is they bring playoff confidence, they bring playoff experience, and they bring a intellect of play that the Raptors just haven't had at those two positions. And the championship play, the MVP play of Kawhi Leonard, there are no moments that will happen in a game that those two won't be able to excel in. Defensively, you're talking about, Gasol, who once was a defensive player of the year. You're talking about Kawhi Leonard, who once was a defensive player of the year. You even got a Serge Ibaka, who was first team all defense. So defensively, when it really comes down to playoff time, they have the potential to lock you up. And when I look at their length, when I look at their lineup, this could be the most difficult defensive team to play against in the playoffs once it starts.
Isiah, it's the guy you bailed out in Salsa Maggiore, Italy, by winning the All-Star game. We would have been the first to lose an All-Star game. So thank you for that. Let me ask you, have they
turned me on to Salsa Maggiore. I had never heard of it, and that was my first experience, so I'm glad you took me there.
Well, we had a great week together there. Is there enough perimeter shooting remaining with Toronto after the trades and they moved some of the guys out that were their long-range shooters? Do they have enough to surround a Kawhi, a Gasol, to help this whole thing out?
Well, I think that's where Jeremy Lin could potentially help them, and he's got to be integrated into this team. Of course, he's got to shoot the ball when he's open. I think right now, talking to Coach Nurse, he was encouraging Jeremy to really be a little bit more aggressive offensively. But when you get traded to a new team, you're always trying to fit in. But Jeremy's one of those guys that I think can score the basketball. And not only can he score the basketball, but he can also distribute it. But I think it's also, Coach, is going to come down to, again, how Lowry performs in the playoffs. Can he shoot the basketball? Can he have good shooting nights during the course of the playoffs? And can he maintain his confidence? That's going to be a key at that point guard position.
Isiah, winning multiple championships and entering multiple seasons with the expectation that you're supposed to win a championship and that the only thing that's going to mark success is that, how difficult is it for Boston and their young roster to sort of deal with this expectation? And how does that weigh down on Brad Stevens in a way that it maybe hasn't in the past?
Well, two things in Boston, the heavy burden of expectations and the heavy burden of tradition. Those two things on this young Celtic team, now they have to overcome and they have to experience. And that's what they're experiencing this year. They've had some injuries in and out, but I think these last 20-plus games for them, Coach talked about them coming together collectively. And can they find that collective spirit, that collective unity to play as one, think as one, be as one, and not be individuals out on the floor. And it's not so much about their game planning, he said. It's really about, them coming together as people, them coming together as a team. And that's what's going to define, their style of play, and that's what's going to help them during this playoff run.
Thoughts from the Hall of Famer and one-time Canadian, Isiah Thomas. Good to have you with us.
Hey.
Hopefully we'll see you soon.
Oh, Canada.
Love the anthem. Love the anthem. Take us to break, Zeke.
My home in native land.